Hey everybody, it's Undead Viking coming to you with another video review. Thank you if you happen to watch any or all of my Con of the North exploits, those post-play quick review formats. Don't worry, I will be back doing obviously real reviews and of the longer sort. And to get back into it, I'm going to do something I haven't done a lot of lately. I just did recently a video of this for Hegemonic, and I want to do another Kickstarter review for a game that I'm really excited about because I really enjoy it. It is Island Siege. Okay, and this is a game coming out from Ape Games, and I think they have a little less than a week left on their Kickstarter, and they're trying to meet their goal. And the purpose of this video is I'm going to show you how you play the game Island Siege, and then tell you what I think. And hopefully, through both my explanation of the game and my opinion, you know, you can decide whether or not it's something you want to add to your gaming library, if you will. Island Siege is a sort of pirate/Caribbean themed game where two players are racing to build the best colony during the age of piracy and the age of the Caribbean. You can see that right there. You can see that ship's blasting apart that fort, and that's what this game is. Each player is trying to build forts and ships and buildings to improve their colony. And the first one to make a full colony that has a full complement of 9 colonists, either on ships or in forts or buildings, wins the game. Also, there is an alternative winning through victory points as well. You know, the theme could obviously be anything. They could be moon bases, or they could be you know, Wild West gangs duking out over a gold mine or whatever. Actually, it was the theme of this game that drew it to me. It was like basically this picture. I grew up playing the game Sid Meier's Pirates, and to a lesser extent the game Cutthroats, which was kind of a complete ripoff of the Sid Meier's Pirates, but also a very good game. And one of the things about the game that came out a couple years ago, Merchants and Marauders, I said that was like a really good simulation of the Sid Meier's Pirates game, except for one thing: it didn't allow you to attack towns. And that was one of my favorite things to do in the Pirates and the Cutthroats game, was sailing my ship into a town, or having my pirates move overseas and invade a town to loot it of its goods and jewels and valuables. And when I saw this game, I realized that this was a game about attacking towns. Was a big part of it, and not only that, attacking towns with seagoing vessels and what have you. And so I was very excited to give the game a try, and I contacted the company and asked them if they wouldn't mind sending me a prototype so I could check it out, and they were more than happy to do so. And now I've played it a few times, and I've played it with my wife, and I kind of played it with my daughter. She didn't quite grasp the game. She liked rolling the dice though, and I played it with some of my friends. And I just want to show you how to play, and then I'm going to tell you exactly what I think about this game, and then yeah. Well, you've watched these, you know my spiel. So let me show you exactly how to play Island Siege, and then we will then go ahead and I'll tell you exactly what I think. All right, here we go. Playing Island Siege is really simple, actually. The game has, for each player, it'll give these two distinct parts. And before I go any further, I want to say that there's by no means for certain this is how the game is going to look, or as far as the components go. Obviously, this is kind of a prototype version, so don't take what you see here as being the finished product. But you start off with this like board, if you will, and it's 2 cards right now, but my understanding is that this will be a full board in the end game. It consists of your starting ship, which make sure that basically, because you notice it can't be destroyed, you'll always have a ship that will allow you to attack your opponents. And it just tells you how many dice you get to roll and how many rerolls you get, which is 1, and you roll 3 dice. And it says if you get 2 yellow results, you can use those to destroy an enemy ship. And of course, as I said, ship cannot be destroyed. And the second portion of the, like, each person's card will be this. And this is where you'll have your 9 colonists, little meeples, if you will. And as you remove the colonists, you'll gain the powers that are on these cards. If you remove the first 3, you start from the bottom and work your way up. This allows you another reroll in combat. If you remove these 3, this allows you another die. And if you actually remove all 3, and you start the game with no colonist, start your turn without this particular any colonists in the top, then you'll win the game. So each person will have this in front of them like so, and then they'll get a starting fort, which of course this is your starting fort. And the starting fort has these different colored flags to tell you what type of cubes to put on those, and that's important because when you're in combat, people need to roll the same color cubes to destroy them. So you notice there's a white cube, a gray cube, and a black cube. And the little flavor text and other forts will have more information. And then there's these spots on the bottom, and those are the spots that you'll be putting your colonists. So you place that guy down there, and we'll replace those cubes so we know those are on there. And so at the beginning of the game, what happens is that each person gets 3 of these cards. And the interesting thing is that's your starting hand, but you get those 3 cards, and you look at them like so, and here we have a ship and a fort and another fort, it looks like. Now, what happens when you start the game is that you have to pick one of these 3 cards, and you have to hand it to the other player. So, okay, and you notice that they have a little text here. It says whenever an opponent attacks this fort, he skips the reinforcement step. And here we have, when built, put the top card of the discard pile into your hand. So you can see these forts have different abilities. Well, so let's pick one. Let's say we hand this one, hand that one to the player, the other player on the other side. Let's see, and let's say he handed us this card, which is a building. This is perfect. I can show you all 3 of these types of buildings. This is the hand the person start with. Alright, so if it's your turn, let's put these little meeples back on the spots here. Now at the beginning of your turn, you take, starting at the bottom, you take one of your meeples and you populate your fort. So you'll put one right there. And so now, we're not there yet. We haven't cleared off any area, but that's what we have. Now, on your turn, you have 3 different actions that you can choose from, and you only get to pick one of them. The first one is you can draw cards. You can draw 3 cards, and just like at the beginning of the game, you look at the 3 cards, you get to keep 2, and then you hand 1 to the other player. So, but we already got 3 cards, and we don't, we're not worried about that right now. We want to, make sure that we are building other things, or perhaps, if we wanted to attack. But usually it's a good idea to build right away. So, to build, you will look at your deck, and you'll notice that the ship and this house have a meeple cost up here. And what that means is that you have to pay for these by moving the meeples that are on your forts onto these particular spots. So right away we're not going to be able to do that, so we'll build this other fortress here. And so you'll notice in this fortress that starts off with a black flag that's right there. Now this probably isn't the most optimal decision I've made because of the fact that I don't have any extra cubes right now to place into this particular fort. Actually, I do apologize. I believe that you do start with 2 other cubes. Let's just say, to begin the game, but let's just say that we are going to place just that 1 cube right there. Well, you know what, on second thought, let's just take, because you get to start with a black and a white cube as well. So let's go ahead and place that black cube on there and place that white cube on there. So at least we've populated more of the area on that particular fort. And so I'm not going to show you the other player's turn, but now it gets back to me. Now on my next turn, I get to place a couple more meeples. Now I have a decision to make because I can build, this house here. It says silver smelter. When built, remove any number of colonists from your other forts to score that many coins. Well, that doesn't make a lot of sense for me to do that right now because I've really only got, the one extra coin. But you know what? Coins are another way to win the game. And if you notice, if you build this, you're going to get 2 coins and one black cube. And so that's actually not so bad because I get to remove any number of calls from other forts, and I've got another one there. So when you build a particular fort, you have to place it, building I should say, you have to place it behind a fort, meaning that particular building is being protected by that fort. If I ever lose this fort, this building will be destroyed. But since this kind of has a one-time bonus, if it gets destroyed, it's not that big of a deal. So I'm going to get a black cube for building that one. And then I got to take these two people and place them on that fort, meaning that they're there. And now I also get to take these 2 coins. Now, I'm just going to take a second, and my understanding is that the coins are going to look like this, or very much like this during the game. And I just want to show you how cool these coins look. These, I don't know where they got the cast for these or whatever, but I mean, these are really cool looking coins. And there's one with like a horse head on the front, and the back, and the, just really cool designs. And so if these are the coins that are going to be included in the game, I'm really excited to see them in more quantities. But anyway, so I get 2 coins for that. And if you ever have 20 coins, these are kind of like victory points. If you ever have 20 coins at the beginning of your turn, you also win the game. Even if you haven't taken all those meeples off the top. So now the other player goes, and for lack of, let's just say they don't attack or anything like that. And so my next turn begins, and you'll notice I've cleared off that spot, so I'm able to now do an extra reroll. And so I once again populate there, and I populate there, and now I decided, I'm going to want to attack, and so I'm going to attack them with my starting ship. Now, I'm just going to kind of clear this off really quickly, and I'm just going to, let's pretend I'm attacking my opponent's starting fort, like so. And so this is where I'm attacking, and so technically what I'm supposed to do is I have this little wooden ship, and I'm supposed to place that on there saying, I'm attacking that spot, and oh, I'm sorry, they wouldn't have that. They would have, let's say, because they're pink, the pink player, let's put their pink meeple there. So I'm attacking that particular fort. Now, this particular, since I've cleared off this spot, but not that one, I only get 3 dice, but I get an extra reroll. So I have 3 dice, and they have all these different colors of the flags on each side. They have that yellow marking, which is like technically a leadership marking. That you notice if I roll 2 of those, I can destroy a ship, but I'm not interested in destroying a ship right now. I want to take out this guy's fort. So I'm going to take these 3 dice, and I'm going to roll them. And so I got a black and a gray, and I got this yellow. Well, I don't want the yellow. I mean, the black will take out this guy, but the gray isn't going to take out one of these gray, because anytime there are cubes that match the color of the cube next to them, you have to get doubles in order to break that particular spot down. But I get 2 more rerolls to try to get another gray result. So let's roll again here. There we go. I got a black and a gray and a gray. And so I'm going to accept that as my roll, and I'm going to cripple this guy's starting fort. I'm going to take those 3 cubes off, and I'm going to destroy them. Now, normally if after I'm done with combat, that I get the option now of doing what's called reinforcements or a second wave. Now on these dice, there are these red results. And the red results are kind of like a wild card, if you will. And if you decide to do a second wave attack after your initial assault, if you have any of these red results left over, you can use them to take out anything you want, regardless of whether or not those colors are matched up. So even if you have somebody that was maybe lucky enough to have like all 4 white dice across, so in other words, you need 4 white dice to be able to even take one out. And obviously on 3 dice you couldn't do that. If I rolled this, and let's just pick the things. Let's say I got that. That was my end result. I could use those 2 red dice to knock out 2 of those cubes, because I can use those for that purpose. The other thing you can do is for reinforcements. Now, let's just, same example, those 3 on there, and I roll, and this is my final result. I didn't take out anything. I got unlucky. I didn't get any red. But you can notice I have a white and a gray and a gray. If I choose to do reinforcements, I can take a white and 2 gray cubes out of the bank, if you will, and I get to place those in front of me as a personal supply. And these will be ready for me next time I decide to build another fort that I'll be able to populate to increase my defenses. If you destroy a fort, the people that are on there go back onto the card of the player that has them, and they populate from the top down. And so the game becomes kind of a balance of both trying to, reinforce yourself and play the ships and the buildings that will allow you to move your people off of this card and off the forts so you can win, or building those ships and buildings to earn points to win the game. But also you need to attack your opponent on a fairly regular basis to make sure you're whittling them down and keeping and preventing them from doing the exact same thing that you're trying to do. It's a fun little seesaw battle game, and I hope that it gives you a good idea of how you play the game. But let me tell you exactly what I think. Making it rain! Or hail, as it were. Yeah, anyway. So that's how you play. And I already said that I really dug the game, but let me explain why I like it. I don't get a lot of chance to play two-player games. And when I do get a chance to play two-player games, it's usually with my wife. And I love my wife dearly, and she puts up with me, and I don't know why or how, but I don't think she had any idea what she was getting into, because she started dating me right as like my comic book and online game interest was waning and pretty much vanishing, and my board game interest was climbing. And so she had no idea that I was going to like get into this the way I have, and I definitely jumped into the hobby with 2 full feet. And I really, I always look for games that I think she'll maybe enjoy. And and sometimes, like, I'll find a game that she really, really digs, and it just, and I go, well, of course she's gonna dig that. I mean, she likes card games, so I mean, like games like Dominion and stuff like that, she really enjoys, and so I kind of saw that coming. But then games like Dungeon Quest show up, and she just loves the heck out of that game, and I think she likes the idea of me getting killed right away, and that makes her laugh. So, when I can find a two-player game that doesn't have a huge, deep strategy to it and is fairly straightforward but still challenging and fun, I usually present it to her with the idea that like she's probably going to enjoy it, and lo and behold, she really digs this game. And so that's automatically going to get a plus from me if my wife likes it. But beyond that, I play the game obviously with other people, and we all kind of like the directness of the game. You can't win the game without trying to beat down your opponent, and that aspect of the game is very refreshing to me. I'm not going to say it's really Euro, because it really isn't, but I mean it definitely has some Euro aspects as far as the card draws and victory points and things like that. But I mean, this is a game that it isn't me tending my own garden over here and you tending your own garden over there and seeing who gets the best garden in 10 turns. That isn't what it is. I mean, this game is about protecting yourself and building yourself up, but also keeping your boot on the other person's neck so they don't do the same thing to you. And I really like that. There's been a few times when I was worried that the game would like if I got a good card. Like I remember I played a game where I put a fort out or a building out that prevented my opponent from drawing cards, and so I was like, well, this is a problem, because he was down to like 1 card. And so I was worried that the game itself then would like make it too easy for me to win. But I mean, ultimately I think I won that game, but I didn't win by much. And the thing was, it was like, but you still have the ability to attack no matter what. Even if, and it's important to note that you can always attack even if like your opponent doesn't have anything to attack. I mean, like they don't have any ships that you can destroy, or they don't have any forts or buildings. They have literally nothing, because you can still roll the dice and collect those reinforcements and collect those cubes. So I mean, every option of the game is always valid at some point or another. And even though, like I said, I run into situations where I thought that the game would be broken, if you will. And I hate using the word broken with games. I don't think many games are in fact broken. But I mean, instead of the game actually wasn't. And the game actually, turned out to be still quite challenging, even though I put my opponent into that predicament, if you will. Now, it's got some detractions, obviously. I mean, it doesn't have the biggest deck of cards, but that isn't so much a bad thing. I mean, if you play the game 2, 3, or 4 times, you probably will then see all the cards in the deck. So, you can formulate some sort of rudimentary strategy then, if like, well, if I can find that card, I can do this. But I mean, obviously you can't count on that. But you will, after that, have that familiarity, and if somebody does then in fact get that card, you'll know how to react to it and how to counteract it. And that's never a bad thing, obviously. I mean, if it's another one of those ways to keep the game fresh and also keep the game from having a problem where you have that situation where you don't know what to do or you don't have any options, and so then the game really isn't fun at that point. And also obviously there's the randomness of the rolling dice. I mean, you can have the best intentions possible, but if those dice don't come up with the right sides that you need, you're not going to have the luck that you need to defeat your opponent. Once again, that is mitigated a little bit due to the fact that you have that option of, even if you roll poorly, you get to collect the cubes, or you can use those red results to actually knock down those forts that your opponent got lucky and placed like a bunch of colors that are right next to each other. You're able to then use those red results to still be able to batter that particular fort down. I mean, all in all, I mean, like as I said in my conclusion, it's a very, very nice seesaw battle, if you will, and it does come down to who gets with a little bit of luck combined with a little bit of clever card play and making the right choices. But the game isn't super in depth. It is very light. It's a very light game, and you can usually play the game in about 15-20 minutes, which is exactly the type of game that I like to have when the kids have just gone to bed and my wife and I just want to talk about our day or whatever and play a little game. Or if it's something where my buddy Craig shows up 20-30 minutes early for our D&D campaign, and we're waiting for everybody else to show up, and it just gives us something to do while we wait for everybody else to show up. It's perfect for that, and I really can't wait to see what the end result of the game looks. I think the ideas they have as far as the final artwork and also the components, I think are going to make the game look really nice. I mean, and if these cool coins or anything, or even if the coolest thing about the game is these coins, these things are awesome. So there you go. Well, there you go, Island Siege. I think it's a really fun little game. I can't praise it enough. I've been having a blast playing it, and if you think it's something that you would fit well on your shelf and have something to play with you and your buddies, then I invite you to go to the Kickstarter page and back the game, and so it can get published and you can get your very own copy. It should be noted that they do say that they can combine 2 copies of the game into a 4-player game, which sounds really awesome, actually, because I think that would really open up the game a lot more, because then you have, obviously, different opponents that you're going to want to attack. It's going to open up the dynamic of, like, negotiations between people. It's like, hey, don't attack me this turn, let's concentrate on that guy, things like that. And, and so I'm really excited about the possibility of getting 2 copies of this game and having a nice, cool 4-player battle. 4-player battle, and I really look forward to that option once the game gets published. So, yeah, so maybe that's something you can think about too. And I do know that they do have a level on the Kickstarter where if you back it, you get 2 copies. So maybe that's something you want to look into. But anyway, that was me, Undead Viking, reviewing Island Siege. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video. I do appreciate it greatly. If you're watching this video after the Kickstarter for Island Siege has ended, I apologize greatly for that, but hopefully once the game is published and is on the store shelves, you'll still be able to use this video to help you decide whether or not you want to purchase it. So until next time, this is Undead Viking. Leave your questions and comments and I'll answer those to the best of my ability. You have an awesome day.